G'day everybody, Mark Neugebauer here. Welcome to Faith, Culture, Politics in Australia, and wherever you might be tuning in from, whichever platform you might be watching or listening on via audio. Please give us a thumbs up or a subscribe or a follow, and if you feel compelled, also there will be a link to buy me a coffee as well. So if you feel that you'd like to support independent media, we're up against big battle of pushing against the legacy media, which I claim is no longer the fourth estate. Hasn't been for a long time, but appears to be in many times an extension or an arm of the state. So look, I'm coming to you as a bit of a follow-up in regards to something out of South Australia that's getting quite a bit of traction and a lot of commentary, and a lot of people rightly concerned about the overreach. So I did talk into it in a recent podcast about Sarah Game had done a speech in the South Australian Parliament, and I shared this the other day, and this was in relation to the Malinowskis government passing the Emergency Management Miscellaneous Amendment Bill without much any opposition really, and Sarah Game, one of the only people that was speaking against it. So look, I've got a bit of an update for you. The contribution for this podcast is being provided by a member of the Onkaparinga Valley, my place here in South Australia, Cathryn, who's researched a bit into this and has actually done a farmer's briefing, and I'm going to share that with you. So this is a work done by Onkaparinga Valley, my place, to help farmers understand what the Emergency Management Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2024 SA will could potentially do into the future, what it means of breaking it down. So I'm sharing this from contribution from someone else that's researched this information. So thank you to Cathryn for putting this together, and I feel compelled to share it via my Substack and other media, wherever you might be listening in from or tuning in from. I just want people to be fully aware of this, and allow it to form debate, conversations, and obviously further discussions. So I'm going to go through this correspondence that was sent through, which has already been uploaded onto my Substack, but I wanted to report on it because I do feel it's important and it needs to know. So I've just linked that speech from Sarah Game there in the Parliament, but let's get into the information provided from sort of research. So let's go through this together. In 2021, the original Emergency Management Miscellaneous Amendment Bill was introduced under the Liberal government under Premier Stephen Marshall. In 2024, Labor revived and expanded it through Minister Dan Cregan, independent in name, but serving as a Labor minister. 2025, the amendments passed through Parliament with both majority parties waving it through. Only Sarah Game, independent, stood against it. The stated purpose is to modernise South Australia's emergency management framework. In reality, it broadens state powers over landholders, stock and operations, embedding permanent new control levers that can be activated at will. So I'm just going to pause there for a really quick second. And so anybody that's lived through the last 5 years, and I've been very, very vocal in speaking out around the overreach from governments all around the world, including our own state government here in South Australia, in regards to what they were able to do under a perceived emergency management plans and and legislation. So, it's very fresh in the minds of many people, and it'll be very interesting to see whether we get a lot of compliance from South Australians going forward if they do want to pull something like that again, because a lot of people believe there was definitely a lot of overreach, and this is what happens when people are busy with their lives, paying their mortgages, under stress, housing, the whole lot. A lot of these things just get pushed through legislation. Once we vote on our government, people kind of put their head down again and become apathetic to the whole process of what happens in Parliament. But ultimately, this is what happens behind the scenes: is they pass legislation, they vote on it, especially when you've got majority governments and not many people, not many independent senators and politicians holding governments to account that have a majority, voting, and people say that's a mandate. The Albanese government's about 33%, is not obviously the 75% of Australians. It's just where our preferences work. But anyway, I digress. It's having lived through it, last 5 years of COVID, having been terminated myself for choosing not to receive a medical procedure, and then all the other things that come about from the last 5 years. I'm very cautious about any additional powers that the government gives themselves to be able to, put controls in place to do these far-ranging powers, which we'll go through a little bit further now. So I'll keep reading now for you and go through this a bit further. The state of embedding permanent control levers that can be activated at will. So as a sidebar, South Australia's perpetual climate emergency. In September 2019, SA Parliament became the first in Australia to declare a climate emergency. That declaration has never been revoked. Under this bill, the new state of alert powers can be layered over the standing climate emergency, meaning SA effectively lives in a permanent emergency state. Farmers could face restrictions, surveillance, or compliance orders without any specific disaster, simply because climate change is treated as an ongoing crisis. Again, for those that have been following me for a while on other platforms, through my Substack, through South Australian Focus, I've spoken into it quite heavily many times in regards to the declared climate emergency here in South Australia and the impact that could have into the future, based on the overreach that's been displayed in the past in regards to emergency powers. So people can go through my Substack. I'm not going to put any links on now. I just want to focus on this other thing, but it's been talked about in a great amount of detail in the past. This backdrop turns every drought, flood, heat wave, or bushfire. Just bring that back up so you can follow along. Into justification for activating extraordinary powers against landholders. So Cregan's framing, this is from Hansard 2024 second reading. There's some links at the bottom of that Substack here that was provided. So strengthening roles and responsibilities. So what Cathryn's done here is, in reality, so explaining what's meant there. In reality, expanding government authority over landholder stock and operations. So State Recovery Coordinator, which is a permanent role. This would embed an ongoing bureaucracy with powers to intervene on farms under the banner of recovery. State of Alert, which is a new category, allows activation of government powers before an actual emergency exists. This is preemptive control. Farmers could be restricted, monitored, or ordered around on the basis of a forecast or model. And they love their models, don't they? Modeling climate, modeling disasters, modeling deaths, and lots of other things. I'm going to keep reading. Modify or dispense with other acts. Ministers can override legal protections in other laws, example property, planning, environment, water, or ag-related acts during a declaration. Safeguards like checks and balances can be swept aside. Information powers. you can be compelled to hand over records, livestock movement logs, or other farm data. Protection from liability. Officials have immunity from damages caused by their orders, leaving the farmer to wear the costs. Increased fines and penalties. Non-compliance by farmers, example, resisting access, refusing destruction orders, will now carry harsher punishment. Farmer translation of Cregan's words. A new permanent official, recovery coordinator, can turn up after a flood, fire, or biosecurity scare and dictate what happens on your property. A state of alert could be declared for climate emergencies or biosecurity scares, meaning restrictions or forced measures could apply indefinitely. Ministerial override powers means your rights under ag, water, or property laws can be suspended with the stroke of a pen. Livestock destruction, land access, or water diversion could be ordered without guarantee of compensation. If you object or resist, you face penalties, while the official carries no liability. Political positioning 2024. Cregan, independent in name, Labor Minister in reality, introduced the bill and carried Labor's agenda forward. He lent heavily on consultation and broad support language, but the submissions he refers to were mainly from government agencies and NGOs, not farming families. He claimed 98% support for state of alert, but this comes from carefully selected stakeholders, not the rural community who will bear the costs. So here's a little bit of a case study. Let's say, for example, foot and mouth disease scare. Imagine a suspected outbreak of foot and mouth disease in South Australia triggered by imported beef or by false positive PCR test. Under this new bill, 1. State of alert declared, powers activated before any actual outbreak confirmed. 2. Biosecurity plus Emergency Management Act combined, livestock destruction orders could be issued. Entire herds could be wiped out. 3. Land access. Authorised officers can enter farms without consent, police backed if necessary. 4. Data seizure. Farmers forced to hand over stock records, movement logs. 5. Ministerial override. Protections under ag and compensation laws may be suspended. 6. Costs borne by farmers. Officials immune from liability, the farmer pays. 7. Non-compliance punished. Resistance to orders carries fines and penalties. Now we've seen, I think, some examples in regards to fire ants, and we know with the chickens as well being culled as well. So there's already examples of these sorts of things around our country. The red meat industry could be devastated overnight, justified under the emergency framework with no recourse for farmers. So public sector mobilisation 26AC. The bill allows rapid secondment of public sector staff into emergency management roles. Farmer translation. Department of Primary Industry staff may be seconded not to support farmers but to police farmers' actions, investigate breaches and administer fines. Agencies that should advocate for farmers become enforcement arms of the state. We've seen that happen a lot, haven't we? Renewable developers get cooperation, farmers get surveillance. This formalises the weaponisation of government departments against farmers under a perpetual emergency framework. So page 5 for a detailed case study on how this could unfold in a foot and mouth disease scare. Emergency Minister for Energy and Mining powers. The bill expands the powers of the Minister for Energy and Mining to declare an electricity supply emergency and issue binding directions. On paper, this is about ensuring stability and protecting consumers. It's all for the greater good, remember. In practice, it hands government the ability to curtail or cut off power supply, restrict farmers and businesses' use of electricity, and prioritise corporate and government facilities over rural operations. Farmer translation: rolling blackouts or forced curtailment. If the grid falters, as it increasingly does with heavy reliance on intermittent renewables, the minister can cut supply to farms, cold storage, irrigation pumps, or processing sheds without compensation. Priority for the city, not the land. In a crisis, government and metropolitan infrastructure are protected first. Rural producers may be sacrificed to stabilise supply. Expanded compliance obligations. Farmers running cool rooms, irrigation systems, or solar battery setups could face new reporting or operating restrictions. On a sidebar, the coming perpetual energy emergency. South Australia already experienced a statewide blackout in 2016. With increasing dependence on wind and solar and reduced reliability baseload, risks of instability are rising. Under this bill, such instability can justify continuous declarations of electricity supply emergency. This creates the potential for a permanent energy rationing regime where farmers are routinely told how much power they can use, when and for what. When you combine this with the standing climate emergency declared in 2019 and never revoked, South Australia faces a double bind: a perpetual climate crisis and a perpetual energy crisis. Together, these provide government with a continuous justification to override farmers' rights, curtail operations, and shift costs into the landholder. So this is the call to action, and farmers must respond. Labor introduced it, Liberals waved it through, only Sarah Game stood firmly against it. Note, the bill was originally created under the Liberals in 2021 under Stephen Marshall's government. Labor expanded it in 2024, Cregan in 2025, both majors backed it. Ben Hood, a Liberal, attempted a minor agricultural amendment, but it failed. So this is like the recap of that is just showing you that neither side of the major government is interested in your rights, liberties and freedoms, and are looking at putting in place things to restrict you further or for them to control you further under a supposed declared emergency. So just very aware of that when you're going into another election, especially a state election in 2026. What farmers must do: demand answers. Why did the Liberals help wave through a bill that targets their own farming base? Confront local MPs with the real-world consequences of property rights, livestock, water and livelihoods. Now, I caveat that is that we've always got to look at doing things peacefully, respectfully, always. Otherwise, we've seen that the media can turn things, the councils and state parliamentarians obviously can say that they feel intimidated. So we always have to look at ways that we can do this as responsible as possible when we confront our members of parliament about these things, regardless of how frustrated we might feel. Build awareness. This is not disaster planning. It is the legal architecture of control, and I'd say for the future. Spread the word. Neighbours, local councils, producer groups must see the detail. Insist on proper representation. Parliament must serve farmers, not strip their rights under the cover of perpetual emergencies. This bill cannot be read in isolation. It must be understood alongside the 2019 Climate Emergency Declaration, which was never revoked, and the looming instability of South Australia's renewable heavy grid. Together, these create the conditions for perpetual emergency powers, enabling government to act against farmers, landholders, and rural communities at will. And then there's some links there as well in the Substack, but full credit obviously goes to Cathryn from the Onkaparinga Valley My Place group, who's done the extensive research on that. But you can see more on the Substack. We've shared it with this the same Substack that this video will be uploaded to, as well as on all my other platforms. Obviously, you'll be able to see that. So Look, this is really just it's an awareness raising. It's to help make you aware and for you to discern yourself about where you want to go and what what you will do in regards to this. Like, do your own research, talk to people, to others about what this could mean for you. This is freely shared, purely shared for information for people to be aware. But there's a lot of commentators talking about this now at the moment, and who are rightly concerned about the powers and the overreach this could give to our government here in South Australia. But we're seeing this kind of playing out in every state in our nation. So it's being forewarned, forearmed, and just looking at ways that you can kind of take action and open up the discussion and for further debate and challenging the federal government on these things, and in particular the opposition who obviously assisted in getting this bill through. So come 2026 here in South Australia in March, there will be a lot of people, rightly I hope, questioning whether they should put their vote against a Labor government that wants to continue to put in further controls over the lives of South Australians, and an opposition Liberal Party that seems to be in lockstep on some of these decisions. So, look, it's really just making you aware, be aware, and yeah, good luck out there. So all the best. I'm going to play another little tune on the way out. I've been playing from a playlist from Holy Grooves and a bit of blues, Christian blues, and good luck out there. Hope to see you again soon with another update. All right. God bless Australia. God bless South Australia, and God bless you. All the best.
The path of the righteous shines like the morning light. Starts out in the shadow, but it grows so bright. Every step a little clearer, every mile a little true, till the day of glory comes and He makes all things new. Walk on, child of the King. The light will rise, the night will fade. Hold fast to His every word, and your path will be heaven made. I've walked with the wicked, felt the chill in their shade, heard the voice of the tempter in every deal I made. But the Lord lit a lantern, set it right in my hand. Now I follow that fire to the promised land. Don't you turn to the left, don't you swerve to the right. Keep your eyes on the Savior through the darkest night. Walk on, child of the King. The light will rise, the night will fade. Hold fast to his every word, and your path will be heaven made.
Master, we know that thou art true, and carest for no man, for thou regardest not the person of men, but teachest the way of God in truth. Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? Shall we give, or shall we not give?
Why tempt ye me, bringing me a penny, that I may see it? Whose is this image and superscription?
Caesar's.
Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming, I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains.